obviously there's moments in the game where, momentum swings back and forth. Where do you think, there's a couple maybe in the first half, where do you think that game really swung where it was the swing was too big and maybe this thing is going the wrong way?
Well, there were some key plays. I thought we were moving the ball. You have over 200 yards against a team that was only giving up about 12 points a game. And so you're sitting there, and we're on the 5-yard line getting ready to go in, and the magnificent play that Keenan made on the first drive, dancing around, finding space. He tried to do it one more time, and there's Amon-Ra sitting open in the flat, his fifth progression, and tried to wait for somebody to get open in the end zone. And, they have good players, and one of them gets them from behind. Same guy he eluded right off the bat, ends up catching up with him. So just a learning lesson for him to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to dump it to a really good player that in a one-on-one situation is third down, and if he doesn't make it, reserve our right to kick. Thought that was a big play in the game. Obviously, I thought the other one was you're sitting there, you make it 21-17, and we had just right before Alex had kicked the ball for a touchback. Thought he would do it again. We trusted our coverage team too, and we let a big one out. And I thought that momentum shift right there really hurt us going into halftime.
So ultimately, that was the conversation. You expected a touchback there, and that's why you decided to kick deep.
Yeah, and we've had great coverage units. I thought our coverage teams have been really good on the year. They haven't given up the big play all year. And Alex had just the kick before had a touchback, and so you trust your kids. And all of a sudden you put that ball in a squib situation. They've got timeouts of 20 seconds. They've got a good kicker too that just won a game at Washington State. They may be right back in field goal range because there was enough time there. But we trusted our kickoff coverage, and I would do it again. I trust our kids to get it done. They had done it all year, and we had an unfortunate situation where two kids run into each other, both fall down, and it opens up a lane, and a good player ran through it.
Coach, I know you worked on turnovers and penalties going into the season, and unfortunately just hasn't gotten there with the turnover. The margins, still not looking good. Where do you stand? Obviously, players have to execute in these situations, and ultimately, I think the responsibility lies with them. But as far as a coach, how do you get that message across and the emphasis going in the right way?
Yeah, the biggest thing with turnovers right now that I look at is they're coming from a young quarterback position. When you look at the other skill, we've had 2 turnovers total on the year. You have one by Velus Jones on a kickoff return, and you had one by Quincy Jonte. And the rest of the time, it's been the quarterback position that we've had to have some growing pains and grow up. And we've had some good days, and we've had some not so good days, and that's part of growing a quarterback who's going to be fabulous. He's going to be a great football player, and he's learning. And like I said the other night, and I even told him today, I said, "Bud, you know what? The greatest experience you can have is both success and failures, and those reps and those experiences are just going to allow you to grow. Yeah. And you're gonna take a mistake that you made, learn from it, and don't ever do it again. Try." Don't let it cost you hesitating or double thinking things, but learn from each and every one, and he'll grow from it.
Yeah, staying with that, and you brought up the 2 plays earlier. That great touchdown pass, which I had 3 people after that play was over, text me, Darnold-esque, Darnold-ish. Mm-hmm. And then almost the same play ends up in a fumble, and I'm just wondering, can you have the first one without the second one? I mean, does he need to learn how to just throw it away on the first one, and maybe you sacrifice the touchdown ultimately and take some of that aggressiveness away, or how do you have play A without play B?
Well, you end up having that time clock in your head, and on the first one he did exactly right. He went through his progressions, nothing was there. He bought time and allowed somebody to get open. The second one was a little bit different because as you're going through the progression, his last progression, which was Amon-Ra in the flat, was there, and to be able to not get greedy. Take that ball, check it down, put him in that one-on-one situation right there on the 3-yard line, and let's see him versus safety and see what happens. And that's part of it. There's that clock in your head also that as you're trying to create and you feel that pressure and you go, you know what, this ain't the time. Maybe coach will go for it on 4th down. Maybe he'll want to kick the field goal. I'm going to reserve him that right, and you get rid of it. I thought the first play was magnificent. I pointed out to the entire team today, as well as Keaton, we're sitting right there. Hey, this is the opportunity. Don't get greedy. Go through your reads are sacred. Go through your progression. When you see that guy, trust that guy. He'll make that guy miss. I promise you. He's a great player. Put that ball in his hands and let him miss down there in the red zone. Thank you, miss.
Coach, obviously a lot of injuries at running back. Do you think, and then you come out of the game with 57 passes, is that part of the reason is just you don't trust a young running back as much as maybe, he can do it out there? Or is it, what laid into the 57 pass attempts or 42 at halftime and putting so much, I thought, on Keenan's plate?
Well, we do trust Keenan. He got 16 touches in that game. And it's something that right now we don't have a ton of backs. We're down to 2 right now. Yep. We'll see where Stephen Carr is later in the week. He ran decent today, did not practice, but is in the running progression right now. And it's a little bit of knowing that we're limited on backs, and we want our best playmakers out there to be able to perform, and we trust our kids. And it's not like the ball is not moving. The ball is moving, moving at a rapid pace. It's for us being able to know that at the end of the day, it's about getting our best playmakers the ball in their hand. And Keenan's one of those guys. He got 16 touches, but it was
looked productive.
And he did.
Yeah, he was at over 5 yards per carry.
Yeah, no, he did, and that's 2 days in a row, 2 times in a row. And I think right now he's a 15 to 20 touch guy. He's somewhere in that realm right there. Had an opportunity down in the red zone on the shovel pass that I thought he was going to walk in the end zone.
You saw 4 players with 5 offensive linemen. It looked good, right?
Yeah, but I've been really, really proud of the kid. For a kid that is getting his opportunity here in November in a very critical time for us, he's performing exactly like he should be and really producing.
Trojan fans get 1 free admission to the Ralph's Ultimate Tailgate Experience at select USC football home games this fall when you purchase $35 of participating items at Ralph's. Look for the signs and tags in store. Every $35 you spend gets you 1 admission. When we come back, we will talk to the head coach about the Arizona State game on Saturday afternoon. That one's coming up, ABC 12:30 kick here in the Pacific Time Zone. We'll talk to Coach about it next on Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and the head coach Clay Helton sits down with us for one more segment. We turn our attention towards Arizona State and another Pac-12 game on Saturday. What is the rallying cry this week, Coach? You just got off the field with your team on Monday practice. What do you have them focusing on?
This game. Part of being a professional, I told them we all want to be professionals in life, both on and off the field. And part of being a professional is showing up and doing your job, no matter how you feel, no matter your guts hurt so bad from that style of loss that we just had. A pro shows up and does his job and finds a way to compete and win the next game and understand that there's a lot of ball left to be played. I mean, there's 3 games left. Yep. 3 games left here, and anything can happen. We're 1 game back. Our job is to go win in the desert this week and then get on the plane and go try to win the next one and the next one. And so I loved how the kids showed up today. I thought they had a great practice this afternoon. They understand they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they'll play angry this week. I'm looking forward to watching them. But they're ready to get back out there and go back to work.
Coach, I have one more question for Oregon game. I know I don't want to go back there forever, but I just want to know about defense. I saw the team come out with their hair on fire. Kanai Mauga with a sack and an interception early, and those first 3 drives just on fire. What changed for the team? Was it self-inflicted stuff, or was it something that Oregon was doing that kind of changed the game?
It was really self-inflicted, I'll be honest with you. I thought the first half of football I thought was as good as we could play defensively. I mean, only giving up 14 points to that offense. It was a really good offense with a ton of skill, good offensive line. If you're telling me, hey, at halftime they have that few yards and only got 14 points, I'm like, man, not only were we in the game, we're probably winning the game at that point in time. The second half is where it changed, and I thought it was self-inflicted. It was a couple guys getting out of their gap on a run play. It's a kid not missing a tackle. It's a defensive end that's dropping, setting up for the screen right where it's supposed to be, and doesn't lock up on the back. It's a young man that we get a miscommunication where it's supposed to be cover 2, and he's in man coverage. So it was more self-inflicted, being brutally honest, in the second half, and our kids saw that today. And we call it Tell the Truth Monday, and we told the truth, and the kids saw it. They took it to heart, and they're not going to let it happen again as we go through this last stretch.
Sean and I, speaking of the last stretch, we're having a conversation about it earlier, and it seems like coaches these days, you stay so focused on one game and the 1-0 season, you don't really like to bring up things like revenge. But one thing that you talked about in the offseason were the close games that got away. Arizona State, Cal, UCLA. Those were really the games. I mean, you could have won the Notre Dame game. There were some other close games, but those were the 3 games that I think you walked out going, those are the ones we should have won. Yep. And so to me, these 3 are the way to separate from last year's team. Is that something you talk to them about and say, hey, you know that these teams can beat you. They did it last year, some of them in your building. But we're not last year's team, and this is the next 3 games is our chance to show it.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about today in our team meeting. Is this team was built for that all off season, the adversity that they went through, and what AA took them through, and what the physicality of both training camps was the mindset to be able to get back on the horse and go. And seasons are defined on how you finish, and you look up and you win these next 3 games, and you're sitting there with 8 wins, with a chance maybe to go to the Pac-12 championship, get 9, go to a bowl game, get 10. So this is an important. There's so much ball left to be played, and these 3 games are critical for our future as a team for this season. And so our kids, their mindset today was exactly perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. They came right back out, and it wasn't like having to crack the whip. It was them on each other saying, all right, let's go. We got to go. We have no time. There's got to be a sense of urgency here to go get this victory.
What do you see from an Arizona State team that's coming off a bye, coming off an ugly loss against UCLA, and probably going to be pretty hungry at their house?
Yeah, they've got a young quarterback too that I think has got a really bright future.
Yep.
Jaden, and he's doing some nice things. He's extremely elusive, which will keep me up at night every night this week. I think it's going to be critical because when you watch him, his escapability to create and move the chains is something that he does. As a young quarterback right now, he's reading one half of the field, and if it's not there, he's taken off. And we're going to have to be able to keep him in the pocket. Then you look at Benjamin. The kid is a dynamic runner. Yeah. So to have that 1-2 punch, that's scary. Defensively, it's been interesting to watch them. It's still early in the week, but they come with a different flair each and every week. It's like they got a new wrinkle, and you're going to have to diagnose it early. We're used to that offensively. Yeah. It seems like we get the flavor of the week each and every week. But it's going to be critical because they move around. They give you several different looks. Herm's a defensive coach by trade, does a tremendous job with it. You're seeing some of the old school coverages. Old Tampa 2 is in there, and they coach it up really well. So it'll be interesting to see what they come with us at. I think that we did have a chance to watch the Washington State game, which gives us a little bit of a good picture of what it may look like. But I think right now, what's keeping me up right now is a very athletic quarterback with a very dynamic running game.
All right, well, the game is on Saturday, 12:30 kick here in the Pacific Time Zone. We will go on at 10:30 with the pregame show right here on KABC. Television coverage will be on ABC. Up next, we will talk to, maybe USC's best player that people don't know enough about. It's Elijah Vera Tucker. He's next on Trojans Live.